a milkshake duck is? I didn't know what a milkshake duck was until about like 2 weeks ago, but I've never heard the term before. Apparently it's when somebody goes viral, like on Twitter, and then they're like, you know, trending or whatever, and then you find out something bad about them, and then they're instantly canceled for the most part. Kind of sounds absolutely terrifying if you ask me. But that's kind of something we're gonna explore today. If you've never met me before, my name is Shelby, and today we are going to be exploring the difference between accountability when it comes to fame and virality. So being a normal, not famous person on the internet is kind of just like talking into a void, and maybe a couple of your friends will see that, but then they'll just go on with their day. Maybe they'll like something, or maybe they will interact with you on it. It's nothing crazy, kind of what we'd expect from our normal everyday social media experiences. But having a tweet go viral is kind of like becoming a public figure overnight, whether you ask for it or not. It's internet attention that's caused by you just speaking your mind to what you think is probably like maybe a few dozen or a few hundred people, or even just being in a certain place at a certain time. But when those likes and retweets come flooding in, all of these eyes start going on you, and whether you like it or not, like all of these people are going to start looking through every footprint you have on the internet and basically judging you for absolutely anything they can judge you for. But it's different when you either aspire to be or are a public figure, because you have basically chosen that platform. You've chosen that attention that further promotes whatever product you make or whatever you're selling. You know, you want that attention on yourself. Therefore, you aim to be in the limelight, and then you can anticipate a public reaction to whatever you may post. So you might choose your words more carefully, or clean up your Twitter a little bit for some, you know, distasteful tweets you may have had when you were like 16 and didn't really know what you were doing or what you were saying. Like, you are prepared for backlash in forms of love and hate. So you are better equipped to deal with that type of interaction on the internet. So while you may not have the messiest timeline, you know, footprint on the internet, it's more so behind closed doors of when you would be called out for stuff. But what happens when you try to hold somebody accountable on the internet? Accountability is when someone faces consequences for their actions. And it's really just so important to organizations and society. Without accountability, it's difficult for people to own up to what they do, because they might not even know that they're doing wrong because they haven't gotten in trouble for it before, but they also don't think they'll face any consequences. So they're just going to keep doing stuff. Like, if you don't see people above you getting repercussions for their actions, doesn't that kind of enable you to justify your own actions? Oh, if so-and-so can do it, why can't I? You know, they didn't face anything, why should I? You know, it's very classic, and I'm sure we've all kind of faced this in any workplace we've worked in. But let's explore how the accountability differs between influencers and these milkshake ducks that come up in the world. So first off, it's kind of just what's hot on the press right now. We're going to talk about James Charles. Now, James Charles is massively famous on the internet. Like, he is probably the epitome of an influencer and the epitome of a public figure when it comes to being online. He's got, let's see here, he's got 25 million subscribers on YouTube. So you cannot tell me that that is, like, what is a population of that? Like, that's like a whole country or something like that. Like, he has got influence over these people. But with all of that fame probably comes the wealth to get away with whatever you want. James Charles is basically, I'm just going to throw allegedly in here, just to throw a term in there so I don't get sued, because I don't have any money, sorry, James Charles. But James Charles has, like, literally admitted to sexting with minors and having inappropriate contact with minors, like, literally admitted it, and people just keep coming out and keep coming out with receipts, with evidence, with all of this, allegedly. But I think because of his whole redemption arc from the Bi Sister scandal, which, if you don't know what the Bi Sister scandal is, there are endless amounts of videos online about that, so you can go figure out what that is if you want. But if you're watching this video, you probably already know what it is. I think because of his redemption arc from Bi Sister, it's almost like no matter how loud anyone talks, no one's gonna hear it anymore, or at least the people that need to hear it don't. We still have James Charles, who hasn't faced really any repercussions for any of that. He's still with Morphe. He hasn't lost any sponsors. Chipotle, I mean, shit, like, he is posting stuff like nothing's happening. So what message does that send to everybody? That you can do this and get away with it if you're famous enough? It's just crazy that there has been kind of zero accountability held with James Charles. When if you think about, you know, say Morphe with similar situations, they dropped Laura Lee, they dropped Jeffree, they dropped Shane, you know, and not quickly either. So it's just really interesting. What makes James Charles so fucking special? Can anybody tell me that? Because I don't see it. I see a fucking predator. So, yeah. Then we move on to another person in the news a lot, and that's David Dobrik. David Dobrik has 18 million subscribers on YouTube. He is really well known for doing like prank videos with his friends and stuff like that. But where David Dobrik's getting in trouble right now and getting called out for is he's kind of created an environment where a sexual assault allegedly occurred, and he has not been respectful of consent when it comes to those in his videos. So those are basically like the main things that people are coming out about and talking about with David Dobrik. And David Dobrik has actually faced some repercussions. David Dobrik has lost like almost all of his sponsors. It's just really nice seeing an influencer being held accountable for something and not letting them get away with a 2-minute apology video or even a, what was it, 7-8 minute apology video.
Ooh, 10 minutes altogether? Yay, you go, David.
But fame is fickle because yes, you can afford to get away with whatever you want, but it is the influence that I think they just do not understand. Again, if you don't see people above you face repercussions, how the hell are you gonna know what's right and wrong? Let's go with both of these influencers we've just talked about. It may not be their target audience, but I'm pretty damn sure mainly children and minors and people of a very influential age watch these videos. I'm sure if they took 5 minutes to look at their analytics, they would probably see that it's mostly children. So I think it's also of the responsibility of the creator to say, hey, I'm making this content and my target audience is people of, you say, of 21 and over. You know, this is mature content. Why not age restrict it so that you can't get all of these children watching your videos and being influenced and thinking that all of these actions are okay? Apology videos do not take away the impact you have had on everybody that has watched your content over the years. So, like, it's literally why you're called an influencer. Like, you are influencing people. If Raw Beauty Christie likes a highlighter, you know, if you like Raw Beauty Christie, you might buy the highlighter because she influenced you to buy it. So, wouldn't watching videos like this influence you to be a fucking asshole? So now let's talk about some, well, more infamous, I should say, milkshake ducks that have occurred. We have a man named Ken Bone. Now, Ken Bone was an uncommitted voter in the second presidential debate in 2016, and he was on TV and asked a question. The internet just fell in love with this guy. He had this red sweater that made him look like a super comforting daddy Santa, and daddy Santa. And he just had like a super caring exterior. Turns out his like famous red shirt was a wardrobe malfunction, which makes him even more precious. And on top of that, he was using a disposable camera at the end of it, making him even more precious. So it kind of makes sense on how the internet kind of just fell in love with this guy. But then where Ken Bone messed up, he did a Reddit AMA. And from his Reddit AMA, they went to his account and then started seeing some sketchy Reddit comment history, which I will say I did look at all this stuff, and it kind of included insurance fraud, which from what I understood was him working at a pizza place saying he had a car insurance, but he didn't. So, and he like forged some documents for it. So like, I mean, it's not like he's stealing millions, you know, and also he like made some inappropriate comments on some NSFW photos of Jennifer Lawrence, but it wasn't even like anything crazy. He was like,
I like her butthole.
Which is just a common dude comment, unfortunately enough. But I guess all of that just kind of ruined his image of being this, you know, super internet dad or something like that. So the internet just kind of turned on him and made him a classic milkshake duck after that. And then we have something very recent that happened with Jensen Carp, which you might know as the cinnamon toast shrimp guy. And if you don't know, he found a couple of shrimp tails in his box of Cinnamon Toast Crunch. They had it back and forth on Twitter with General Mills, and, you know, it was getting lots and lots of traction on Twitter. It was a big Twitter thing. And then as that's, you know, getting hotter and hotter, his ex-girlfriends start coming out saying, like, they've experienced emotional trauma after being with him, and just started, like, talking about how bad of a person he was and stuff. So then the internet, again, just turned on him, and boom, milkshake duck. And then we have someone like Gary Allen Coe. I don't know how the hell this happened, but he was walking down the street and somehow stumbled upon the 2017 Oscars and just started, like, hanging out with Samuel L. Jackson and stuff. Like, how did security let that happen? But either way, internet fell in love with him because it's just fresh, common dude, you know, with all these famous people. Of course, people are gonna, you know, talk about that on the internet and stuff. It was very quickly found out, though, that he actually got out of jail like 3 days prior to that because he was a sex offender. And he just served 20 years for being a goddamn sex offender. So obviously the internet's gonna rip this guy a new one, which is very well deserved in my opinion. But again, like, this guy was just in the wrong place, wrong time, and became a classic milkshake duck. With all of these, whether it be something as severe as being a sex offender or something as minor as forging your car insurance when you work at a pizza place, why do we even create these? Why are we so adamant on finding the bad in people? But I guess, you know, if you can't get famous people like James Charles to be held accountable for their
crimes
they are committing, then it kind of makes sense to go for, like, a smaller target, someone you can actually, you know, probably see some repercussions from, and then, you know, give yourself your little mental pat on the back for doing something good for society. I mean, hell, you just, like, this guy's getting praised for, you know, being, like, super funny on the internet right now, but then you let everybody know, oh no, he's actually a dick, and then kudos to you. But, like, where does that even get us? The internet is actually beautiful, where you can interact with as many people you want that are into the same things you are or completely different from you are. And you can literally learn anything you want. But it's kind of unfortunate that lots of people use it as a weapon to become an internet vigilante, but that in turn makes people who are called out have to own up to their mistakes if they want any form of this 5 minutes of fame, or in all honesty, they can probably just lay low until a week later till another milkshake duck comes around. But with all of this holding everybody accountable, where does forgiveness fit in? When is someone forgiven? What does someone need to do to be forgiven for the things that they may have done in their past? Is their past really that unforgivable? A really good example right now for that is Trisha Paytas. Trisha Paytas is kind of known for being, like, a problematic fave, if you will. She, you know, has made some comments, some tweets, some, you know, Trisha Paytas has been Trisha Paytas. But right now, Trisha Paytas is on a high. Her career is doing well. The Frenemies podcast is thriving. Everybody's loving Trisha right now. So now is she forgiven? Is everything that she's done before forgiven? Or when Trisha slips up again, will it all just be brought back up? So at what point do you let go and forgive? What do people have to do to get the redemption arc they're all looking for? And is that even possible to put into words? Because I myself have trouble, you know, with trying to figure out how I feel about all these public figures, because also you just don't even know what you're getting. So it's a really tough conversation to talk about when forgiveness should be given, and, like, should I even be the one giving it? I don't know. Like, it's really touchy and tough. But in conclusion, it is clear that the scale of accountability is fucked. It's skewed to shit. Like, how is someone who is consistently being called out for literal, let's say this again,
crimes,
like, not held accountable for anything? Is money really that powerful? Do you really get to a certain level of fame to where you don't even have to worry about being PC or anything. Oh man, my strap was down that whole time. Why didn't you tell me? You know, in my opinion, I think we hold public figures to a really high standard because we want to know that they deserve it. And we want the attention and the platform they've been given to be justified and earned. And when it isn't, we almost want to switch the conversation to, don't believe this person, you are being swindled by someone being someone they're not. It's unfortunate that the scale seems to be like bass backwards, and milkshake ducks seem to be held way more accountable than these influencers. But the internet seems to be getting a little more powerful, so hopefully soon we'll be able to see that, you know, the voices of the people on the internet are more heard, and people start getting held accountable for the literal crimes they're committing, no matter how much money they have. So keep in mind and be careful of what you tweet, because you could be the next milkshake duck. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please, I want to start conversations down below because I find this topic so interesting. Like, this video was originally just going to be about the cinnamon toast shrimp guy because that was so hilarious to me, that just the back and forth on Twitter was really funny. But then I just started thinking more and more and more about, you know, why is this guy being called out so hardcore, but James Charles is not? Unmonetized, deplatformed, none of that. Like, it's just bonkers to me, and I feel like I live in such a crazy, weird world. As always, everything on my face will be in the description, along with everybody's art that is included in my background, and please include any artists down below that you would like me to check out. Again, I am looking to kind of mix it up a little bit, but I have nothing coming in, so please fucking tell me where to buy art from. And I would really love any and all feedback on this video. I'm really proud. I've never really scripted a video before, so, and this is a little scripty. I don't know, I feel really proud of it, and I really hope when I edit it, it's just, I still like it. But yeah, thank you for making it all the way to the end of this video. I hope you have a rad day, guys, and peace.